Hello, welcome to Miller's Musings, whatever number it is. I have absolutely no idea, and if you have just stumbled across this, yes, it is a weekly vlog-esque series where I talk about life, to be completely honest with you, because I don't think enough people talk about life. They don't talk enough about mental health, depression, anxiety, all those kind of things. So that's what I thought I was going to do. We've already covered a range of different topics, and sometimes these videos blend into one another because there is a theme. And I think sometimes we do stumble across the same stuff, which I think is quite interesting, really, because you've been looking at one topic and realize, oh, it ties into this topic. So I would implore you to go through all the Miller's Musings, should you so wish, and should you have the time. And today, as the title suggests, we're going to talk about other people and the way that other people can have an effect on your mental state of mind or your happiness or sadness, because it's really interesting. There is a lot of teachings, for lack of a better term, that no one can actually make you feel anything. Now, that doesn't really work in the real world because, you know, if someone comes up to your face and insults you or says something horrible, it probably is going to affect you, or 99% will. But a lot of people will tell you, well, no, it's up to you how you respond, and no one can choose how you feel. You choose how you feel. And that is true to a certain extent. But again, it depends on the type of person we are. It depends on our chemical makeup. Depends on one of 1,000 things about how, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me is the stupidest phrase I've ever heard in my life. Because of course names can hurt. Sometimes, the prolonged pain can be even worse. If you break your arm, it will get fixed, but emotional pain can last a lifetime. But there is, like I said, there is an argument and there is a reasoning to suggest that yes, if you kind of look at it, like you control your emotions, right? That is true. And while a lot of the time it feels like none of us control our emotions because it's really hard to do that, if something comes from left field and surprises us, 99% of the time we will fall or stumble or whatever. But there is some truth to it in the sense that you are you, and you are your brain and you are your heart and you are your guts and your lungs and all those kind of things. And a lot of people are like that, right? It's the difference between thick-skinned people and thin-skinned people. But you can teach yourself to be thick-skinned. How you do that, I don't know. It's going to depend on the individual. But I think there is something in sort of not reacting, but trying preempting things sometimes. So throughout your life, there's going to be badness and sadness and people, just assholes, who do indeed want to try and drag you down. That's what some people are like. It's usually because they're struggling on their own terms. They don't know what to do about it, so they attack someone else. That's what internet trolls are. 99% of the time, using percentage a lot, and it's almost 99% this video, but a lot of the time, internet trolls are people that are either jealous of what someone else is doing, or have nothing better in their lives, or feel empty, so feel like they need to go out of their way to try and affect someone else to bring them down to their level, and that's why they do it. I would bet with every ounce of my being that there's not one person out there who trolls on the internet that isn't suffering from some kind of sadness within themselves because they're just trying to fill that void somehow. But if we can understand that, and if we can, like I say, almost preempt it and put our bodies in a state of readiness for any kind of atrocities or negative things that could come our way, it is true. It is true. You can decide how you're going to react to that. Now, there are things outside, if you lose a family member or you break up in a relationship, there is some reprogramming to do. I'm not talking about that because routine is a powerful tool. And if your routine ever gets broken and then you've got to try and fill in the bits and bobs that you're not used to, that does take a while. However, again, that does still come back to a positive or a negative mentality. If you approach that, when you fall into a melancholy state, you know what I mean? A lot of people will, misery loves company, right? That's the phrase. And so we're miserable for a while, but eventually your brain kicks in and it says, look, we've got to do something about this. We can't keep sitting in this slump. So you do eventually start to come out of it. However, there is a way to get there quicker, and it's harder, and I think that's why a lot of us don't do it, but it is by taking that positive mindset and saying, no, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to push through, and eventually you still get to the same place, but if you take the positive route, you get there faster. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking the negative route. If you're sad, you should feel sad. You should allow those emotions to take over, but that is where my point is. A lot of us, when we feel sad, will fight back, and we don't want to feel sad. It's the same with happiness as well. Some people are so surprised they feel happy. They're like, oh, why do I feel happy? I feel guilty about that, which I totally understand too. And you're almost worried, like, if you accept it, something's going to come across and knock it off. But it is the same with other people as well. Just in the same way that you can accept and control sadness. If you can accept and control when other people do indeed, try and inflict negativity on you, you will soon find that you can deal with it a lot better because you are you and your world is all that matters. Now, I'm not talking about being egotistical or narcissistic and that the world revolves around just you, but in a way it does because it's your world. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be selfless or look out for others. Of course we should. But you ultimately have to put yourself first most of the time because if you didn't, you'd probably be hit by a car and die, or you wouldn't eat, or, one of a million things. But my point being is, once you kind of accept that you can't control everything going on outside of your life, when those things do occur that you'd rather they didn't, you can deal with it a lot better. Doesn't mean it's not going to knock you, doesn't mean it's not going to take some effort and some willingness on your part, but it is true in the sense, as the name of this video says, don't let the bastards get you down, because the bastards actually can't. You do indeed choose to let them do that. Because let's say it's someone says something to you that you don't like, be that a work colleague, a friend, again, a partner, mum, dad, sister, brother. Doesn't mean it's true. If anything, maybe if it does affect you, maybe, again, that's an internal thing you can look at and you can say, maybe that's affected me so much because there is some truth in it, and it's that piece of the puzzle I need to pull out and work on. As an example, I made my wrestling debut a few weeks ago. I wasn't particularly happy with some of the clotheslines that I had hit because I was nervous and also because I'd known that I've done better beforehand. But again, it was my debut. The situation changed. I was in a live environment and my anxiety and my adrenaline were up. So when I saw a few comments of people going, those clotheslines are rubbish, why did I react negatively to it? And why did I react badly to it? Because deep down I was like, they're not wrong. Now, these people do it in an asshole way and you're like, they're absolute morons about it. But the point is, the trigger was that I knew what they were saying was true. Not necessarily the way they said it, because if someone says anything that I don't agree with, I can kind of, let it wash off my back. But again, there was that nugget of truth in there, and that's what sparked my reaction to it. And I think that's the same with everything. If I come up to you, if you know you're a really good singer, and I hear you sing, and I tell you you're crap, but you know that you're good, I imagine a lot of us will be able to go, well, that's just one person's opinion. Maybe it'll knock you a little bit. But if it's the other way around and you knew you could do better and I said it, but again, that's still you controlling your feelings. I may have triggered that, but you're just as able to bat it away as you are able to take it in. Now, singing is not the best example. There are far more, for lack of a better term, important or emotional, hard-hitting things that can be said. But I do think it's really important for you to remember that. And as you go through your day-to-day life, remember that as long as you've got a strong moral code, as long as you know who you are, and as long as you're living life the way you want to, or at least the best way you can, it really doesn't matter what anybody else says or what anybody else thinks. Because they have no effect on what you're going to do today, tomorrow, the next week, or the week after that. You have to compromise sometimes for the people that you actually care about in your life. But hey, those people probably aren't saying horrible things to you. So anyway, that's what I wanted to focus on today, be it on Twitter or in real life or social media or on the phone, whatever. Do not, as best you can, and maybe you can try and work on these things now as we talk about this, but do not, I guess it's not really a confidence thing. It's hard to get confidence anyway, but have more belief in yourself and have more confidence in yourself that as long as you know something is true and as long as you know you've approached something in a certain way, that it doesn't matter what anybody else says because you did right by you. And I think that's really important. Again, it sounds really simple, but I think a lot of life lessons are simple. We just don't take time to take a step back and think about it because why would we? Life is crazy. Life is stressful. As I always say, we're just trying to find a way to get through the day. But that is really, really true. And there are techniques you can do. You can search them online, be it meditation or, well, there's loads of things. You can find them that, teach you to, again, it's the whole thing. You have to make yourself happy first, and then happiness will come from elsewhere. And that goes with these things too. If you're a happy person, you believe in yourself, and you know you've got a solid foundation, if someone then comes along to try and knock that, they won't be able to because you laid the concrete, right? That's what you did. And it's the same with this kind of stuff as well. If people are saying stuff to you and it is becoming difficult, maybe take a minute, internalize it, and try and figure out exactly what it is that triggered that to begin with. And I think you may be surprised, would be my guess. But yes, ultimately, don't let people that you don't care about or that you don't like knock you. Regardless of what they say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And again, you're probably thinking, well, that's obvious. But sometimes it's nice to have the conversation anyway, and that is what we're doing. Do not let the bastards get you down. You're better than that. You're more important than that. You deserve to live your life as much as they do. Their opinion doesn't count for any more than you, no matter who they are or what they do. If it's constructive criticism, of course, you should then listen to that and break it in. But absolutely under no circumstances feel like you are of a lesser person or your opinion is not worth the same as theirs, because it is. And again, as long as you know you're living right by you, keep doing that. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't have to be a dick about it. You can be nice about it, but just flick it away and carry on with your day to day. So yeah, don't let the bastards get you down. So yeah, leave a comment below, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what else you want me to talk about. We'll be doing these every Monday, so make sure you check back into them. Some people ask, yes, all this is sponsored by patreon.com/SimonThe316. If you'd like to donate, you can to there. It's not a problem if you don't want to. It's all good. I'm on Twitter at SimonThe316 if you want to chat. And that's that, as ever. Take care of yourself. Believe in yourself. I'll see you next week.